actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday, September the 2nd. I'm Emerson Collins.
And I'm Del Shores.
And you're listening to
The Del and Emerson Show. Straight talk.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. It is a wacky Wednesday. September.
September, I can't believe it.
2/3 of the way through the year. I swear they're putting out Christmas decorations tomorrow.
Well, it finally got a little cool here in LA. It was so fucking hot.
Yeah, but we only had like a week of like summertime.
It was
heat,
hot.
So
it was hot.
I don't think we get to complain. I feel like everybody else was melting.
I
like
can
Elphaba.
complain if I want to.
Always.
I can complain.
That has never been in doubt or in question.
Okay.
I don't know when have you ever? When was the last time you didn't share?
Okay. Emerson, you have great news. Let's just quit.
I do.
Quit berating me.
So we've basically said it like 8 different times on the show, so I don't know if there's anybody left who didn't know this. But yesterday it was officially announced that my show, The People's Couch on Bravo, will be returning October the 6th, Tuesday night, 10 o'clock. Blake McIver, Scott Nevins, and I will return to share our snarky nonsense on the sofa, watching the television. So I hope that all of you will join us and tune back in. That is the reason that we recently went to New York, which we couldn't really say. And
I thought you were going to say, which we couldn't afford unless Bravo had paid
well,
for.
that's true too. Everybody's worried about the stock market. I'm like, doesn't affect me. I don't have a 401k
really?
or anything in it. I was like, so I'm sorry about y'all. But
So did something happen? I said, really? Did something happen to it? I used to follow that shit when I had
it bounced
money.
up and down last week like a yo-yo. It was like some emo One Direction fan. I couldn't decide whether it was happy or sad or... Anyway.
They're in Vegas tonight. Caroline Ray told me.
I do not care, Cait Westmoreland.
Oh, well, okay,
we have a big, exciting... we'll kick it off and get right on to the news. We have lots of interesting and fun news. In our equality update... okay, clearly if you enjoy our show, you have definitely seen this story and the ongoing saga of Kim Davis in Rowan County in the clerk wars. Kim Davis has just exhausted any and all opportunity to just not do her job. She continues to refuse to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. A district court, the 6th Circuit Court, all denied, and her stay expired on Monday. She took it to the Supreme Court, and Elena Kagan sent it to the panel, and they said, we are not hearing this case, and refused to issue a stay. And so on Tuesday morning, Kim Davis arrived at her office at 7 a.m., telling reporters that she most certainly made a decision and that God is good, God is good. Davis then said no marriage licenses will be issued today in the county pending appeal to the 6th Circuit. David Moore and David Ermold walked up, and they were rejected for a 4th time by her office. They demanded to speak with her. Ermold said, we are not leaving until we have a license, and she responded saying, then you're going to have a long day. 4 different couples had been turned down by 9:30 a.m. Joe Davis, Kim's husband, arrived at the courthouse just to check on his wife, saying at one point, I'm an old redneck hillbilly. That's all I've got to say. Don't come knocking on my door. Davis then went on to compare his wife to the biblical figures of Paul and Silas, sent to prison and rescued by God. Now, Kim Davis is now has a contempt hearing tomorrow, so we will see what the results are of that. But actually, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest today. Miss Kim Davis herself is here in the studios and going to share her prepared statement. Ladies and gentlemen, Kim Davis.
Some people have said I should resign, but I have done my job well. I never imagined a day like this would come where I would be asked to violate a central teaching of Scripture and of Jesus himself regarding marriage. It is not a light issue for me. It is heaven and hell decision. For me, it is a decision of obedience. I have no animosity, none, toward anybody, and I harbor no ill will. To me, this has never been a gay or a lesbian issue. It is about marriage and the Word of God.
Well, amen, sister. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to share that with us. I mean, it's a very important, and clearly her faith is important to her. Now, while Kim Davis prepares herself to return to the show, I will just say for a minute, it's interesting because people have talked a lot about the hypocrisy of Kim Davis and her 4 marriages. An interesting story came out yesterday, and this basically just gossip, but I'm going to share it anyway. Kim Davis was married to her first husband, had an affair with another man who would later be her third husband, had twins by him that were adopted by her second husband before she got around to marrying the father of her children. Now, Joe, her most recent husband and fourth husband, is when she became a Christian 4 years ago. And many people have said, you can't call her a hypocrite really because she wasn't a Christian during those early marriages. But what I would like to point out about that is while that may be true in the literal definition of hypocrisy as it applies to Christianity, it is the fact that she, in our secular society, was able to marry and divorce those first 3 men before she found her personal religion that demonstrates the actual hypocrisy of what we want, of LGBT people wanting to get married and it having nothing to do with her individual Christian faith.
Yeah, it's just bullshit. And tomorrow did you say
tomorrow's
that?
the contempt hearing. Yes.
Yeah. While I was in character, I may have missed some of the story.
Yes.
So, what do you think's going to happen?
It's interesting. I'm actually in the camp. I really, really hope that she doesn't get jail time. I think that is a negative thing for us in this argument and in this discussion because I think there are a lot of people who right now don't care and aren't invested in the argument who would rush to the argument of Christians are being actually put in jail
persecuted
for their faith. I think that provides ammunition to a lot of people that we don't want to provide it to. It is a weird thing because she can't be fired. She can be impeached, which has only happened. There's only been 4 impeachment hearings in the entire history of Kentucky, and only 2 of those people, and it was the 1888 or something, was actually
They were
impeached.
probably witches or something.
No, he stole $200,000 and disappeared.
That's a lot of money for 1888.
And so I think it's in our best interest if they do something that is a fine, severe fines. I read someone suggested that they make the fine equivalent to anything she raises in fundraising campaigns, which I think is a brilliant decision because then there can't be a GoFundMe or Indiegogo or Kickstarter for, her healing or whatever wardrobe.
They should make it 50,000 more than any GoFundMe.
But so that way she is punished with what they can do. But it is really interesting that the whole she kind of has to quit.
Yeah, I don't see anything that she can do. She's got to get out.
But
There's no way.
But we kind of can't make her is the thing. Her mother held this position. Her son works in the office. This is the family business in Rowan County. Is the Davises run the county clerk's office? So it's sort of going to be an interesting thing to watch. Because the governor can't force her to do it. The county attorney general already has a suit against her, so he can't bring another one related to this matter. It's
crazy.
If she doesn't leave,
she got her, and she's gotten her fame. She is,
and the locals, there's a lot of local support.
Yeah.
So it's even questionable if in January, when the legislature comes back into session, that they would even bring impeachment proceedings, or that they would manage to do it. She could just end up staying in this job till the next election or forever,
and they could reelect
continuing to disobey this part of the law. So it's going to be interesting from a legal standpoint to watch what happens.
Yes, and we have other.
But yes, and not to be outdone, we have talked about him before. The Casey County, Casey Davis, no relation, has also refused licenses and he did a rambling interview saying, I think it's a travesty to think that just because he don't see it this way or his opinion is to let same-sex marriage go and it's all right that us as Christians, we as Christians don't have rights anymore. That's wrong, sir. That's not right. It's a war on Christianity. There is a travesty taking place with the Supreme Court ruling was completely unconstitutional. Our law says one man and one woman, and that is what I held my hand up and took an oath to, and that is what I expected. If it takes it, I will go to jail over. If it takes my life,
oh really?
I will die for it because I believe I owe that to the people that fought so that I can have freedom that I have. I owe that to them today, and you do. We all do. Sir, you're not going to have to die.
No.
That's a little extreme. You might be getting a little hyperbolic at this point, a little bit of hyperbole. I just think he's mad that Kim Davis is getting all the attention, and Casey Davis wants to be a martyr too.
Well, I'd like to read from the good book, Romans 13,
please do.
1 through 7.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we'll stop it.
What kind of church are we in? Do we have to all stand for the reading, or can we stay seated?
Let's stay seated
Okay,
for
good.
this one, since it takes an effort to stand. Romans 13, 1, we'll just go through 1 and 2. Everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. I think they're talking about the Supreme Court there. Consequently, he or she who rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves.
Amen.
And that's what's
And all
gonna
God's
happen
people
to
said amen.
Miss Kim tomorrow. She's going to get judged.
Well, we shall see. In other quick equality update news, it's I'm not going to talk a lot about the election until we get to like the real big debates because we're just going to be exhausted if we do. It's more than a year away. But this is important information. The National Organization of Marriage, of course, has created a pledge that they asked all of the candidates to sign, agreeing to support a federal constitutional amendment that defines marriage as a union between one man and one woman. They are still fighting this fight. Well, 4 of the Republican candidates have signed this pledge. Dr. Ben Carson, Ted Cruz, Bobby Jindal, and Rick Santorum. Now, I think it's unlikely that many of our listeners were interested in supporting any of them, but when you show up at those awkward family reunions or Thanksgiving and things and people say, but I just like Ted Cruz because he's from Texas and he's just a good old Texas boy, say, he's also a lunatic.
Yes, he is a lunatic, and his dad's a lunatic, which we'll find out later.
On the flip side, Chris Christie at the Iowa State Fair last week became the first Republican presidential primary candidate to actually speak somewhat reasonably on this issue. He said he believes that religious freedom laws should not enable businesses to discriminate against customers. His quote was, "Religious organization should be protected from having to do anything that violates their religious beliefs as a religious organization. That should be protected. But other businesses who want to do business, they should have to be able to do business under the laws of our country." That's all the rest of us are asking. So, thanks, Chris Christie, for being the only reasonable one at this point.
People are giving him a lot of flack, but at least he made some sense there, huh?
Yes. All right, well, let's flash through the gay news. I mean, unless you just haven't been anywhere on the internet, you have to have known, whether you watched it or not, that the VMAs happened on Sunday night on the MTV television, on the music television. Of course, we'll skip right past the irony of they don't play music videos on MTV anymore, but they still are celebrating them in an award show. And the last several years, they have been boring as dirt. The Beyonce concert last year was great, but there hadn't been an interesting pop culture conversation-worthy moment in a number of years, and this year there were like a dozen.
Yeah, it was pretty, and I usually don't watch it. That's not my thing, but since we're doing this show, I knew you would want to do this story.
It's important.
So, and I saw Miley Cyrus was on it, and God, her outfits though.
Well, it's
that was
funny.
Crazy, those outfits.
I love. I mean, they were terrible. I mean, I loved her first one, the one that looked like she was that chandelier that Sia's been singing about for a year and a half. I was like, is Sia going to show up swinging from her vagina underneath that chandelier? That was all I could think. But I do love that, and even the outfits that were terrible. The VMAs have always been that, like fashion that is absurd and ridiculous, and like. That's what I want to see. Nonsense.
I just wanted Nicki Minaj to be Mike though when she was going off.
When she finished her
going
rant.
off.
Poor Miley looked like she was going to shake out of her boots.
She looked scared, and she was like, "Oh, but the press misquoted me. We know." Well, she's very articulate, though. I thought, well, not Nikki, but I mean Nikki is in her own way. I found it ironic though, but that she thanked her pastor and then just went into this nastiness.
Well, I mean, she had a.
It's like, thank you, Jesus, and you bitch! Don't you ever do that again to me, you fucking bitch! It's like, praise Jesus.
She had something to say. She needed to let you know.
No, I was so impressed. I mean, my kids are telling me how awful Miley's new album is, and I happen to like her former music, but I could not get over how articulate she was and how well she hosted. I thought she did you didn't think she did good?
No, and I love
did.
her. She spent 2 hours talking about how she smokes weed. That was it. She runs that hippie foundation.
That was a lot.
Working for LGBT youth. See, my issue with her as a hostess is that she is doing all of these great things as a young pop star and really being culturally sensitive and aware and using her celebrity for a lot of issues. And literally every single break started with, y'all like smoke pot.
Yeah. Yes, and the Snoop Dogg was.
I smoke pot.
That was embarrassing.
I literally thought the end of the thing was going to be a PSA about the legalization of marijuana. We didn't even get there. I felt like she failed as a host by going, I'm so excited to host, and then did not have anyone help her like plan what she was going to do. And I genuinely am. I love her. I like a lot of the music. I like who she is growing into be as a socially aware pop entertainer. So I was just disappointed in that part.
And it seems like she and her daddy have made up.
Yeah, a little bit.
So,
and then But I did love at the end when she had all of the trans youth and
Yeah, me
gender bending and genderqueer youth come out and speak about that led into the number with 30 drag queens, which of course was my personal favorite moment of the night, seeing all of those RuPaul's Drag Race queens on stage. Willem, my favorite part, I don't know if we didn't talk about this before, right? They put all of the House of Edwards drag queens, Shangela, Laganja, and Alyssa, right behind Miley because they can all dance their faces off. Willem is a great entertaintress, but I wouldn't call Willem a danceress. So he was kind of off on the side a little bit, but they got to that final pose, and I don't know where Willem was supposed to be, but I guarantee you that where he ended up was not the spot he was blocked to be at, because suddenly his face popped in between two of the others, and you watched him move those streamers out of the way knowing that his face was on camera. And
He
I was
knows
like,
camera.
That is our girl.
He knows
That is
camera.
our girl.
Good for you, Willem. I know you're not listening. So.
And of course, Kanye West announced he's running for president in 2020. And here's all I will say about that. I would vote for him today over any of the Republican choices. So.
Well, I probably would too, but oh my God, that was a rambling, boring thing that he went through.
I was born
I
a
was just
rambling
like,
man.
Jesus.
All right, flashing on.
In other news, Ellen Page, we're loving her. She says, don't call playing gay brave. Ellen Page stars as half of a lesbian couple with Julianne Moore, once again playing lesbian in the upcoming drama Freeheld. She said, and this is her quote, "Maybe this is a bad thing to say, but I have a hard time when people call actors brave. I don't really get that because our job is to read something on a page. When people are called brave in regards to playing LGBTQ people, it's borderline offensive. I'm never going to be considered brave for playing a straight person, and nor should I be. It's hard to say this because the context of this film is so deeply tragic, but for me, there is a deep sense of peace on set that I have not felt in a really long time, potentially since I was a teenager and first having these really beautiful, fortunate moments in film. There was something about being out, about being able to play a gay character and getting to play a woman who is so inspiring to me. It is such an amazing experience for me. Honestly, if I played gay characters for the rest of my career, I'd be thrilled. I wish I could, honestly.
I love that so much.
I do too.
Well, because we do that.
We just
it's
want to work.
Well, but like that happens, you get these like hot, young, straight guys playing the gay guy on the soap opera or the gay guy on that one CW show. And it's like, oh, it's so shut the fuck up. That is not brave. It is not braver than playing
You got a
serial
job.
killer.
You got a good job.
Yes, and also it's like, because what it implies is that there is some sort of risk for being associated with the gay or LGBT community that you are choosing to not give weight to and risking all of that in order to shut up.
Yeah, let's just name the Academy Awards won
and
by
the
people
first-
playing gay.
That becomes a real thing the
Not
first
brave.
time that a gay person gets called brave for playing a straight person.
It's smart. It's just smart to do good work. No matter what the work is, it's smart to do it. Yeah.
So do
all
your
right.
job.
Yeah.
Show up. Be like, I'm sorry. Like firefighters, policemen, doctors curing cancer, people working in the Ebola in Africa. Those people are brave.
Those boys on the people's couch.
No,
never
yes.
mind.
I carry that. Just call me Simon of Cyrene, carrying that cross for Jesus. I'm not letting that joke
Being
go. It's like the
able-
joke of my life.
It is a great joke because it's
I'm gonna-
it's
Oh my
funny
gosh,
to
this
us.
is not related. I should write a parody, like 45-minute, one-act, one-man show called Simon of Cyrene. Tell the story of Golgotha from the perspective of Simon of Cyrene. Like, well, me and my friends went down, we got some roasted peanuts and stood on the side of the road, and I thought that poor man is not going to be able to carry that cross, and I got out there and helped.
I think he should be a little bit bitter because he didn't get enough.
And
press.
I thought it was going to go viral.
I thought people would respect me a little bit more.
I'm not
But
even
when
mentioned in
they
all
say
4 books of the Bible, all 4 of the...
Yeah, what do they think when you say Simon? They go Peter,
Or
They don't
Simon,
say- they don't say-
Simon Says. Even Simon Says gets
or
better billing
Cowell,
than me.
but not Cyrene. Never on Password did
Not
they say
enough credit.
Cyrene.
He's not the Simon.
All
right, flashing
we're
on.
silly today. What's wrong with us?
Well, I mean, y'all, this you love it. That's why we're here. Speaking of, I'm gonna get serious. Well, the reason we got to do that is because I'm about to soapbox for a minute because this genuinely, legitimately pissed me off. I'm not going to mention his name because I believe in the choosing not to celebrate even by naming people that commit atrocities in our world. But the guy that murdered the 2 journalists in Virginia, there have been a number of stories continuing to come out as more information has been discovered about him, about the rambling thing that he wrote that he faxed in. And this past week, CNN and a number of other outlets led with a big reveal about the shooter, that he owned a number of porn sites between 2007 and 2008. Now, CNN made no attempt to explain how this bit of information was relevant to the crimes that he committed. And then a number of other online outlets also reported that he was once a male escort. Even several gay blogs had headlines that basically said, mass murderer equals sex worker. And the thing is, and Don Lemon finally on CNN challenged the network's reporting, saying, I don't see the relevance of it. I don't want gay shame him. There's nothing wrong with being gay. And what I want to say is clearly what he did was horrifying. Every reasonable human being thinks that. But there's an extreme problem when we attempt to connect homosexuality or sex work to deviancy or mental instability or any of the kind of mental illness problems that could contribute to committing an act like this. Because unless we're going to list like what library books he checked out from the library, what he bought on eBay, if we're going to just list every random detail of his life, that's fine. But to choose this as a headline, to say that this is so much more relevant, somehow suggests that there is a deviancy within homosexuality that explains somehow the behavior he committed. Because there will be crazy conservatives watching that kind of reporting see it and go, oh, well, that makes sense.
I mean,
that explains
Kim
it.
Davis sitting there in her jumper going, I'm right, I'm right.
And I think it's important to hold our news media and accountable for not using that kind of lurid detail to titillate and suggest that there's somehow a connection.
I was very happy that when he came, when Don Lemon said that, it was great. So, okay, onward.
All right, flashing on. Soapbox dismount.
Yeah, and as many of y'all know, my kids actually, my daughters, Caroline and Rebecca, went to Catholic school, so this story was very interesting to me. We didn't go to Catholic school because we're Catholic. We went because it was close by, and it's a very, very good school here in Los Angeles. But Catholic bishop creates morality contract after a same-sex couple attempted to enroll their child in a Catholic school in Springfield, Illinois. The city's bishop, John Peprocki, is requiring all parents to sign an agreement that critics say is designed to drive away the children of same-sex couples and divorced parents. This agreement requires parents to agree that our child or children will be taught the teachings of the Catholic Church in their fullness, even if we are living a way of life that is contrary to those teachings. Those who do not live in according with our church teaching must pledge to discuss with the pastor of our Catholic parish ways in which we could. Though more than 10% of the children in the Archdiocese Catholic schools are not Catholic, parents must also commit to attending Mass weekly and to commit to giving at least 8% of their income as tithing. Now, 8%
Tithing means 10.
means 10. That's why they let them slide on 2%.
I don't think I would send my children to the school if they don't. If they can't figure out that 8 and 10 are not the same.
So anyway, it's a crazy story, and
it's interesting to me on multiple points. One, I actually sort of like that they're saying like, this is a private school. It is a Catholic school. We are going to teach what our Catholic faith believes. And if you're coming here because you think your child is going to get a good education because we're a really good school, you need to know this is what we're going to teach.
Right.
And you got a sign that you understand that if you live not in accordance with the Catholic teachings, we're going to tell your child at school that the way you live is wrong. I actually sort of applaud putting it that far out there so that you know in advance. Because first of all, what I would tell these parents is don't send your kid to school there.
Right.
Find a better school.
Well, and the way I dealt with my kids is I said, you're going to hear these things at this school because this is what they believe. And it's up to you or not up to you to either sit there or to say what you believe, because I don't think that it's wrong to say what you believe. And I actually had to go to the office a couple of times over some really nasty things that were said that were inappropriate. There are some things that you go, okay, yes, that you can teach that homosexuality is a sin. That's according to their Bible. But some teacher at I'm not going to say the name of the school, but said, but gay people hurt each other. My daughter said, how so? And he goes, well, they hurt each other. I can't go into detail. She said, well, you brought it up. You brought it up. You need to go into detail. You need to tell us what you're talking about, because I'm pretty sure that my dad and my stepdad don't hurt each other. And there was like this silence. And then afterwards, he chased after. He says, oh, Rebecca, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't mean to offend you. And she goes, well, you did. So I was really proud that my kids were able to stand up. But I don't know that in this school, if they stood up, that they'd be okay standing up. It sounds like that they would be kicked out, maybe.
Well, I don't think that's this isn't anything about the children like disagreeing or having an argument in class, but your kid would have to sit there and take it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's-
and I think that this is basically to dissuade them from
yes, because
enrolling
this
there.
was
They said,
after,
we don't want your
basically we're saying we don't want your kind here.
right.
But
So-
hey, I say good to that because like the more that I prefer people to be upfront about their bigotry.
wouldn't you?
You
I
know,
mean, if you
kicking cameras and
did I just kick a camera?
yes, it's not on us, but that's why we can't have nice things. Dell's rampaging
Oh,
around
I
the
meant
studio.
to kick your camera.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I could tell. But I do. I sort of say, good. Put your bigotry on the front wall. You know, then we know. Like, you can be pariahs in our
Absolutely.
communities because eventually people stop going there. So.
Yeah, if you say don't come, if you say no gays allowed in, this restaurant, good. Well, I'm not going in there. Fuck you.
Well,
I'll
that's
go down
against the
to-
law. But a private
But
education
still, if
institution.
there have it. We've reported on those restaurants, and I'd like to. If you're a bigot, I'd kind of rather know that you're a bigot rather than you to go spit in my tea. Wouldn't you, John? I mean,
All right.
anyway, all right. Moving
Well,
on.
flashing on real quick, I just find this hilarious. Mayor Luigi Brugnero is the mayor of Venice in Italy, and he has called gay pride marches the height of kitsch, and basically said about not having a gay pride in Venice this year, let them go do it in Milan or in front of their own homes. He was criticized by Italy's rights group Arsegay who accused him of besmirching Venice's reputation as an open, sophisticated city. I find that hysterical because really what it sounds like is it's less about gay and it's like, it's just tacky. I mean, and there's an argument for that.
I love that word besmirch. So it always reminds me of Leslie Jordan. He goes, "Do not besmirch me." I mean, it's
but I
such
thought-
an odd word.
I thought, but here's a city, you got a city of gondolas that's all about like a big masquerade ball every year. Like, sir, your city's already real gay.
yeah, it's real gay.
You got men in tight shirts singing in the rivers.
yeah, with their chest hairs.
Like driving around your canals singing, oh, solo mio. Like, it's a little bit gay already.
Speaking of, I got to
What?
go off topic just a
Oh,
little
no!
second. Yes, we
What?
have to. I saw Audra McDonald last night
In
at
concert.
in
Oh,
concert
she is
at
my
the-
goddess.
Oh my God, you've got to go on Thursday. She's such a good mom. She had to fly back to get her daughter to school for her first day of high school. She didn't want to miss it, and she's coming back to do Thursday's show.
Aw.
It was wonderful. I went with my friends Michael and Scott, and it was just a big old homo hoedown there. I keep kicking these cameras. Okay, off Audra onto Christian bus driver says he will quit if he has to drive the Pride bus. Now, as you know, Emerson, I was Calgary Pride's Grand Marshal last year. I was just so excited that another country wanted me, and so this was a very interesting story to me because I could wrap it right back to me.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, y'all, that's how we pick all the stories anyway.
If they could apply to me. So anyway, Calgary Pride Festival kicked off Friday as a show of support. A Calgary transit bus has been wrapped in the symbol of inclusiveness. The rainbow flag bus will operate through September 7th, the day of the parade. But Jesse Raw, who worked for Calgary Transit as a driver for about a year, says he is a Christian. He cannot support homosexuality, and he hopes Calgary Transit and the Amalgamated Transit Union, how do you say? The transit union, we'll just skip that one, will support drivers who don't get impatient with me, Emerson Collins. Did you notice that? Who don't want to drive the rainbow bus. He wants to be assigned to another bus. He says, I have a family to support, and I'm very concerned about losing the job. It's something I'm very proud to be a part of, but this goes against the important things I stand for. I am asked to compromise in such a big way by driving this rainbow bus for what I believe that I will lose my job. If I don't, I'm a Christian, so as a Christian, there are things like homosexuality that I just can't condone. Unfortunately, we live in a culture where if you disagree with someone's lifestyle, the accusation is you hate that person. Look, they're not asking you to suck a cock. They're asking you to drive a fucking bus, asshole. It's not a big deal. It'll be over September 7th. Support your kids, you motherfucker. Okay, on.
Well, I just want a bunch of homos to put him on the Pride bus and just sing the wheels go on the bus go round and round, but real gay, like the wheels on the bus go round and round.
I'm so tired of these people.
With a
I
glitter
really
cannon.
am. And it's usually not Canadians, but I'm so fucking tired of this. It's just like, I just want other stories to come up besides these Christians who are so offended by, a rainbow. We want our rainbow back.
Well, you ain't gonna get it. All right. Well, I found this story really interesting. I'm skipping. There's a new documentary out in the UK called Muslim Drag Queens. It features a drag artist billed as UK's first Muslim drag queen, LGBTQ activist Asif Qureshi. In the program, Qureshi, who performs under the name Asifa Lahore, described the difficulties that come with being a gay, British, Pakistani drag artist and a practicing Muslim. I mean, that is a mouthful.
It's a
of
lot.
Communities to be a part of. During the premiere, he received messages saying that things like people would kill him like ISIS would. Because of the threats against him and his family, he has to keep the police informed of his whereabouts. But he said, I choose to be a public figure around this issue because I'm brave enough to talk about it publicly. And what I represent is hundreds of thousands of people up and down the country that actually can't be themselves and can't be out. I get inundated with messages every day from young Muslims, young gay Muslims who want to come out and are having these conversations in their families. And I really like this story because you all know that we love us a drag queen here. But here in the U.S., because of RuPaul's Drag Race, drag queens have become much more mainstream. There's
Very
not
celebrated.
the subversive aspect, but it really, really started as a very subversive art form. And here is someone, he is a man dressing as a woman, also talking about his Muslim faith. And when you think about how we deal with conservative Christians here in the U.S., but how much more dangerous in some places it is to be gay and Muslim, I just sort of have to applaud this aspect of using the art form and proudly stepping out and saying that your faith is not impacted by being a gay person as well. And it's sort of amazing. It's sort of what our drag queens were doing in the 80s, and when RuPaul and Lady Bunny and all of them were coming up and sort of celebrating both gay and really commenting on the culture. So I just thought it was really great.
Yeah, okay, and onward. In South Carolina, we have a Stand with God rally. So presidential hopefuls Ted Cruz and Rick Perry.
Can I sit? Can I sit with God? How long was this rally?
No, only if you are in a wheelchair.
Ugh.
And if Kanye West is there, he will try to make you stand up.
Sorry, you were saying?
Presidential hopefuls Ted Cruz and Rick Perry joined a reported
course they did.
10,000 people gathered in Columbia at the South Carolina State House this weekend without the rebel flag to participate in the Stand with God pro-family rally. Where keynote speakers rallied against marriage equality, Planned Parenthood, and what they see as ungodly corruption in Washington. A website for the pro-family rally urged participants to bring your family, except your gay people, and your faith, and show the Supreme Court that there is a supreme creator with a supreme law on marriage. I went on to bemoan that perversion is growing exponentially, offering as an example the recent Supreme Court decision on same-sex marriage is yet another proof of the spiraling degeneration of this nation's morals. Oh God, that's a mouthful. They just keep going. And Rick Perry said, Jesus saw corruption just like today. We need somebody that's got the backbone to go to Washington, D.C., then turn over the tables of money, changes of corruption, of greed, and that we see on Washington, D.C. Ironically, isn't he up on some charges about corruption and illegal activities? A 600-voice choir sang a hymn called I am on the winning side.
You're not. You're not,
I'm
though.
so sorry, but
you're not,
not.
though. You're not.
What?
Bless your bigoted
That's
heart.
what you call ironic.
Yes, I'm going to save that video and send it to them in a couple of years. All right, flashing on really quickly. This was just really sweet and a reminder that we are not against, here at the show and us personally, we are not against all people of any particular faith. We are against people that swing the texts of their religion at people like us to say we are less worthy. And so it's important to celebrate also great examples of religion and sexuality going well together. The First United Methodist Church in Austin got a surprise when Trevor Harper dropped to his knees in front of the entire congregation and proposed to his boyfriend of 9 years. The fellow worshipers and members of the choir and their pastor not only erupted in smiles and applause, but they encouraged them to share the video on the internet. And I just love that.
I swear, if you, and John, you have the link in our chat room, watch this because it is so cute, it is so touching, and I love the old pastor in the background just clapping wildly. It's a beautiful thing. And I love it. It really looked like the one guy was not expecting it. He was like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed. But it was great. So then we have gay grooms enter a wedding on unicorns. Broadway actor Michael Buchanan and his partner Jason Gilbert were treated to the entrance of all entrances as the two grooms descended upon the wedding reception in style via unicorn jet skis in Michigan. One attendee described it After a lovely ceremony and a delicious meal, we were asked to look toward the lake as the couple made their entrance as husbands. Once we all realized that they were riding in on unicorn jet skis, I am pretty sure there was a collective jaw drop followed by laughter, applause, and a chorus of folks screaming, "Yes!"
It's yes.
I know, I can't do it. I'm not gay enough like you, Emerson. Do it again.
Well,
Really good.
Yeah.
All right.
I loved it. Literally, y'all, they just glued unicorn heads to the front of a jet ski. If you haven't watched the video, watch it because it's amazing.
But it's cute and charming. And their outfits were just like, in their wedding, were very, very cute.
But you were going to say something else?
No, I wasn't. I'm not. I'm not saying anything.
All right.
Moving
And then
on.
in
Feel like
other,
I'm getting
in
red.
continuing our Boy Scout saga, the Mormon Church has decided they will not be leaving Boy Scouting, so all of those Mormon Scouts can continue to participate. Basically, they decided it because they realized they can still discriminate, so they're fine with it. So that's a win, I guess.
Yeah, well, onward.
Yep.
I mean, you know. Okay, ex-gay therapy speakers invited to a Pope event. Now, Pope Francis is visiting Philadelphia, the city of love, next month for the World Meeting of Families, and the local conservative archbishop is hijacking the event to promote his own right-wing agenda. Archbishop Chaput has banned Catholic groups that support LGBT families from the exhibit hall. Sounds like you say his name, it sounds like you're spitting. Chaput, including one that is hosting a session on gender identity, invited advocates for anti-gay conversion therapy to give speeches. I guess Jeremy Schwab might be there. Lead workshops and sell their books. Well, he is Catholic. And
I know.
That
might be the shadiest thing you've said on this show in quite some time.
And sell their books and other materials. What did I say? I bet he might be there. I bet he was invited.
what did I say? That's what you said.
The
I'm just
Archbishop
saying it's shady.
said, "We don't want to provide a platform at the meeting for people to lobby for positions contrary to the life of the church." Look, I said that, and it is a great possibility. So, yes, maybe I threw some shade, but in that, it is absolutely true. So he's welcome to sow some shade my way if he has it.
It absolutely is. I just thought it was funny. It was a real random call out of a very specific person.
Well, I just thought of that Joel, whatever the fuck he has, and then all the conversion therapy and that propaganda, and then I just had a little moment, okay?
Well, it's interesting because it's a result of that. Like, there are lots of super conservatives in the Catholic Church not happy with the Pope, saying some somewhat reconciliatory language to at least de-emphasize the LGBT issues in the church. And there are many conservatives like this particular archbishop that are like, I want to point it up. It's like interdenominational squabbling. All right.
In Trendsettera news.
Yes. Okay. We in our ongoing effort to remember to focus on the issues of the trans members of our community and the way that they have supported our issues for so long. The story of Ashley Diamond is a really sort of sad story. Now, she was a 37-year-old black transgender woman who has had a federal lawsuit against the Georgia Department of Corrections, alleging the prison's denial of her hormone therapy, failure to protect her from repeated sexual assault, to be cruel, unusual, and punishment. Well, she was released from prison this week. And this is separate from the issue of, it was a nonviolent crime. I believe it was breaking and entering. That's the reason that she was in prison. And the issue here is how trans people continue to be treated in many aspects of our society, because regardless of what she's done in prison, she should be treated equal to all of the other inmates. And she, for the entire time, was housed in the men's facilities. Right. She had been on hormone therapy related to being transgender for 17 years prior to going into prison, and they stopped that medication for her for the 3 years that she was there, which can be incredibly harmful. And then she has reported numerous accounts of being sexually assaulted as well. So it's really important that we look at the way, it's like Genesette Gutierrez, who talked about how trans people were treated in detention centers for immigration. It's at whatever level in our society, it seems that trans people are treated worse than anyone else, whether it's in prison or whether it's socially or whether it's in employment or whether it's in housing. And so this issue, particularly that they be treated fairly and safely, even in our prison systems, is a big part of this lawsuit that's continuing on. But she is finally out of prison and able to pursue that lawsuit further. And you pointed out it's exactly like
it echoed that storyline. Although that Laverne Cox's character in Orange Is the New Black was in a women's facility, it echoed that storyline where she could not get her hormones, and they would not allow her to have the hormones. Which was, and by the way. Side note, I saw Grandma, which I recommend all of you go see. Lily Tomlin plays an out lesbian, and it is wonderful. And Laverne Cox is better than she's ever been in anything. She's so good in this movie. The whole cast is wonderful. Marcia Gay Harden gives
just genius.
A 3-scene tour de force, maybe nominatable performance that I've beyond type A personality. And the young girl, and I don't remember her name, who plays the granddaughter, who I'm not giving anything away. It's in the trailer. She needs an abortion, and Lily Tomlin, this liberal grandmother, is bound and determined by 5:45 to find the money to get her an abortion without going to the mother. That's the plot line. It's really brilliant. It was a darling at Sundance, and a lot of people feel that Lily will get a nomination as well.
Yay!
And we love her.
Yes, we do.
And I am Cait. Have you been watching?
Obviously, yes. And I loved this week's episode. I love that the show has become to be more about a group of trans women that Caitlin is a part of, but that we're seeing so much of the stories of the other women that provide insight into a wide variety of trans experiences. It keeps it from being about like this one privileged, wealthy woman's journey. And this week's focus on Candace Cain and her journey as an entertainer, as an actress, and the responsibility that she the weight that she feels as being sort of the most successful trans actress, until Laverne Cox has exploded on the scene, and what that's like carrying that for her, and the pressure of that, and the frustrations and the fear. I thought was really amazing.
And the honesty of being financially needy at times, and like many of us in this business, it's where's the next gig? And you and I worked with Candace. She's lovely and a wonderful actress. I love Candace. She was in Sordid Lives, the series, for those of you who don't know, but she played one of our therapists, Dr. Rhea Light, and she's a lovely human being. So I'm so loving this storyline with her.
Yeah. And this didn't happen on the show, but there was an interview article with Candace, and she talked about going in for an audition for the Larry Sanders Show, Larry
Sanders, yeah.
And be auditioning to play the role of a trans woman who needed to go to the bathroom so bad that she decided to use the men's restroom instead. And Candace talked about in that moment of like, you don't want to irritate casting directors, and you don't want to piss off producers that could hire you, and having to say to them, I'm sorry, I don't know any trans woman that there is any circumstance whatsoever under which she would do that. And so she left the audition. She saw another trans actress she knew in the waiting room and found out later that she also wouldn't do it. And the storyline never made the show. But it was really interesting thinking about, when you draw the line in the sand, what do you stand up for? And that was inspiring even further, that she was like, I'm not willing to do absolutely anything for a job. I'm not willing to do something that I think would damage my community to profit personally.
And go against my soul. I mean, you and I mean, that's for all actors. We have a friend who is an actor who did an anti-gay film recently, and we were horrified. We really were. And he justified it. I needed the work, blah, blah, blah.
It was a big lead role.
Yeah, whatever. But, I would not go and do a role that celebrated the Ku Klux Klan. I would not.
Well, it's interesting. Well, it's with that argument, and not to get too far down into the rabbit hole, but I always go to, what's the point of the piece? I will play you the most terrible person.
Absolutely.
But the problem is, you can't be on the side of the bigot in the story at the end of the day. Like, the moral of the story can't be that the bigot was right. I will play your bigot if that person is wrong.
We know our good buddy Mitch Carter, who played who gave Leslie Jordan the big line, "Do you see my pussy now?" Who played Bumper in the series. Mitch is a lovely, wonderful human being. Beau Bridges has played horrible human beings for me in that. The whole piece.
Yeah, what's it saying?
Yeah, what was the whole piece saying?
Yeah.
So good.
All right.
Well,
it's time to check in with Crazy.
Okay, well, I am so happy that many of you do not know this, but I am from South Texas, and I grew up speaking Spanish, and I can do a flawless Hispanic accent. So I am so happy to play Ted Cruz's father, Rafael, when he told the crowd, the devil overplayed his hand. with the Supreme Court marriage equality decision, and here's Ted Cruz's dad, Rafael. You've got to realize that decision was not about homosexual marriage. The decision was a decision against religious liberty. What was the basis of their decision? It was the 14th Amendment. That means they're calling homosexuality a civil right. Understand me well. If they're calling homosexuality a civil right, that means that their next obvious step is a homosexual may come to your church and demand to be hired, whether as a pastor or a janitor is immaterial. And if you say, I'm sorry, I cannot hire you because it violates my religious faith, you're going to be slapped with civil rights discrimination lawsuit.
His father's accent is that thick?
Okay.
I didn't watch the video.
You play the YouTube. Can you play a little bit of it? I mean, I didn't match the voice because I just can't do it exactly. But wait, let's see if we can hear it. Do we have time? Okay.
I'll do the next one, and then you can bring that back because it's like yours always ends up sounding like
Ricky Ricardo
meets Speedy Gonzalez. Like,
I don't criticize your gay characters. I don't criticize your T-shirts.
It wasn't a criticism. It was an observation.
Okay, I
was just
I
asking.
felt like I could get cast as Raphael in the Ted Cruz biography. I really do.
Here's hoping.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Okay. All right, and I love this one. This was one of the crazier things we've seen in actually quite some time. Daryl Trigg is an engineer in Tennessee, and he has announced his candidacy for the presidency as an independent candidate. Now, you may not have heard of him, so I'm going to share some information about his campaign because he's not made it onto the debate stage yet.
Crazy.
He said God has told him it is his will that he will be the next president of the United States. That's okay. We've had a number of candidates say that God told him to do it. He did say when he wins, he will dramatically change America into a theocracy. Mm-hmm. In his campaign video, he says that after he wins, he will form the Christian Party. The national religion of the United States of America will be the Christian religion. Those belonging to other religions, such as Islam, I feel like he's the type that would say it that way, will be free to live and worship here as now with their own religion. However, the Christian religion will be the one chosen to form the basic moral principles of our nation, to give it a strong moral foundation and a right relationship with God. So just to be clear, America is going to have a personal relationship with God.
All of them.
He'll outlaw the separation of church and state. Homosexuality will not be recognized legally or in any other manner by the United States government or any state, city, or county government. Marriage will be defined as the union of one man with one woman, and couples wishing to get married must first attend Christian marriage counseling classes. Divorce will be nearly impossible. It will only be allowed in case of abuse, infidelity, or incarceration. Expectant couples will, of course, be married and must attend Christian parenting classes. Christ was 33 when he died on the cross. Daryl is asking everyone to contribute $33 to this campaign to commemorate each year that Jesus lived on earth. Now,
let me get my credit card out.
On the list of crazy things in that list, first of all, now Christianity is going to be the religion. We're going to be a theocracy, which, funny enough, I think there are a number of people that's actually what they wish would just go ahead and happen. But it's okay to be another religion, but you're still going to have to go through a Christian marriage counseling class to get married and a Christian pregnancy class to have a baby, even if you're not a Christian in our Christian nation.
But God has told me it is his will that I will be the next president of the United States.
It's going to be so awkward. I can't wait to see the video after he doesn't get the nomination.
That's just horrible.
I'm like, did you hear the message wrong? Like, did you just not get it? Bless his heart. Like, it's really genuinely closer to the actually like the craziest we've had in some time.
I think and what's happened to Pat Robertson? He's been vacant from our show for a few weeks.
Pappy's tired.
He's tired.
Pappy's just tired.
So, okay, one more thing. Gay in Sportsball.
Yes, just real quickly. Sam Stanley is a 23-year-old rugby player. He's the first English professional rugby union player to come out. Stanley revealed that a few years ago he contemplated suicide after fearing his sexuality might ruin his rugby career, but decided to come out less than a month after rugby league player Keegan Hurst also revealed that he is gay. So that is exciting. It's great to continue to see the firsts. I look forward to the day when there are no sports left where we can use the word first to apply to it. As Sid Ziegler at Outsports, which is where I get all of our gay sports ball news, always says he looks forward to the day when he's out of a job because Outsports isn't even an interesting website to exist. But we're not there yet.
Well,
So thank you, Stam, for standing up for so many LGBT young kids that love playing the sports ball.
Absolutely. Well, that's our show, and I'm gonna be in Austin this coming week, and y'all are gonna have the Gay View next week because I won't be in town, and I am so excited about this because one of the first film festivals that Sordid Lives won was the Austin Gay and Lesbian International Film Festival 13 years ago, and they're celebrating an anniversary by bringing me back to introduce the film and showing it to the Austin film people, and I'm excited about it. So go to my page. It's under events, or go to the Austin Gay and Lesbian International Film Festival and come see me in Austin. And congratulations, Emerson, sincerely on another season of The People's Couch.
Thank you so
and
much.
John, thank you for helping us. That's our show, everybody.
Thanks for listening. As always, stick around for On Air with Tony Sweet and Jasper after that. And of course, our dearest friend, The Ann Walker Show, is a repeat tonight. But make sure you listen to that. We love her. And if you probably missed it before, so make sure you're always listening to her shows. We love her.
I won't see you next week, but we will be here, and I'll probably call in, and Emerson and his gang will be here.
Bye,
Thank
y'all.
you so much for listening.
Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family, and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more.